Uh,
So should we look at the matchup?
yes, I'm ready for that.
Oh, man. Where do you want to start with this?
I don't know.
No, you're the man in
I
green.
actually do think the Celtics match up with them pretty well because I think one of their biggest weaknesses when Robert Williams isn't on the floor, they're bad at getting rebounds. And I don't think the Warriors have these mountains that are going to out-rebound them.
No, I mean, Green is not the rebounder he was. Looney works hard, but he's not someone who rebounds outside of his space.
That's the part that makes me feel the best. There's too many times when they're playing like a Giannis or an Embiid where he'll miss the first one, he'll get the second one. He may even miss the second one, gets the third one. Now it's an and one. It's like, I just don't think Golden State has a guy like that.
They're good team rebounders, and they've got rebounders, all over the court, but no one dominant rebounder. But then again, neither to Boston, so that's where it does match up well. Like Boston's defense matches up well with everyone, and you know what? Just a point there. This is one of those matchups where people have been saying the league has gone more offensive and all that sort of thing. We have the number 1 and 2 defense in the league playing off for the finals, playing off for the championship.
Boom.
So, as much as the league has become more offensive, defense still wins championships.
And so important come playoff time. Like, we kept seeing these teams. How many times did Boston hunt Vincent or hunt Strus? Like, that was the only offense. Like, they didn't try to draw players or anything. It's like, hey, how can I get a switch on Strus? Okay, now I'm going to go one-on-one.
And that goes back to what I was saying before about how, yes, the Heat of, they're renowned for taking these guys from nowhere and turning them into legitimate rotation pieces, but they don't have the same talent level. Like, does Max Strus have the same talent level as Derek White?
No,
exactly. And that's because one was drafted late in the first round and the other one wasn't drafted. There is a reason for that.
You brought up defense. It's like, you can't even have one guy on the floor who's a liability because they like these offenses. They don't care. They will just whoever offense, one guy, one-on-one. Here we go.
Oh yeah, Peyton Pritchard will be mothballed this series, I think. He runs the show well. He can shoot, and look, he
shoots very well.
He's not the liability defensively that he's made out to be, but at the same time, he's not good. And when you've got, look, Thompson's not going to cook him off the dribble, but some combination of Curry, Poole, their eyes will light up when they see.
But he's really the only bad defender on the whole team.
He realistically he is. That's exactly right. I mean, Derek White is picked on, and Derek White is a good defender. He's not great, but he's good. The only other one who might be picked on is Daniel Tice if they get him on switches.
I don't think he's even going to play.
No, I don't think he's going to play much either. Because again, the only way he'll play is if it's a let's stretch the floor scenario. He's basically
or one of their biggest in foul trouble. Then maybe he'll.
Yeah, exactly. Like he's a lesser version of Horford. He's smart defensively, but not athletic. He can shoot the ball, but not quite as well as Horford. He can distribute, but not quite as well as Horford. He could have a spot in this series because he's not going to get bullied down low. Because Tice is the size of a power forward. He's 6'8" and not particularly built. But Looney, Green, none of them are going to punish him in the post. None of them are going to take him down low.
That's why I feel good actually, Celtics wise. Like they don't have a guy that's going to beat them up really in the post.
No, but at the same time, that could because what's Kevon Looney's strength? It's post defense. Does this mean we see a lot more of Draymond Green at center? Do we even see Otto Porter play center?
Oh boy,
no! Just I don't go for complete shooting.
Celtics either. I don't think you can go too small because they are a big team.
They are, but this might be something where you zig whilst the Celtics zag. Because as great as Green is, like he's a savant defensively and he's a wonderful playmaker. But he's not a shooter. He never has been a shooter. No. Whereas Otto Porter can shoot the lights out, and he is 6'9". He's the size of Robert Williams, or the height. He's taller than Williams. Fair enough, he's not as broad and as strong, and certainly not nearly as athletic. But the Celtics' defense has been predicated on let's put. It's the old thing that Golden State used to do with Andrew Bogut. where they put Andrew Bogut on the worst offensive player and then let him roam. So this is what they do with Time Lord. They put him on the worst offensive player and let him roam. So if you're going to have Kevon Looney out there, he can, like, his shooting range is the length of his arm. That's it. If he's not dunking, he's not scoring. So if you take him out and you put Otto Porter in, knowing that he's not going to get cooked defensively, he's more switchable than Looney. And there's no brute of a player who's going to score down low, because Robert Williams isn't the post player by any means. And you're having to rely on 1,000-year-old Horford's offense, and he was never a great low post player, even in his prime.
No.
Where do you put Time Lord? You can't leave Draymond Green open. His passing will cut you to ribbons if you let him get a runway. Where does that leave Robert Williams? He has to guard someone. It's the same conundrum that Utah faced against the Clippers.
I think he's pretty good guarding people, though. I know he's a little banged up, but like
I'm not saying he can't guard him one-on-one, but the issue is that, like, Boston's defense is built around Williams' ability to roam and to leave a bad shooter. Like, we'll leave that one guy in the corner because we think he's going to shoot it at 30%. You can't leave Otto Porter. You let him shoot wide open threes, he's going to hit them at 45%. So all of a sudden that might gum up, that might just cause that little bit of hesitation in rotations or make Williams second guess his rolling to the rim. And then you've got to rely on your perimeter defense, which admittedly, I talked about Utah. Boston's is so much stronger. Everyone's perimeter defense is stronger than Utah's, but Boston's is elite. So, then it comes down to, can Golden State's perimeter playmakers beat Boston's perimeter defense?
I do think there were times during the Miami series, though, Miami did try to go really, really small, and it did backfire. Like PJ Tucker was the 5, and they couldn't get a rebound to save their life.
Yeah, but PJ can't shoot.
He can shoot at one spot.
But even then, he's not particularly accurate with it. Like, his three-pointer hasn't, since he left Houston, he really hasn't shot the three well from that corner. You can run Bam, but he's not a shooter. Dedmon can shoot, but he's too slow defensively. There just isn't the same level of shooter in Miami as there is at Golden State.
Well,
and we're not just talking Curry and Thompson. We're talking down the roster as well.
Yeah.
So that to me is going to be a really, really interesting matchup to see, or an interesting wrinkle to see. How long does it take for Golden State to go small?
Gary Payton's supposed to
be more to the point, when they go small, how small do they go?
Yeah.
And do they decide to play 5 out, or at the very least 4 out with Draymond Green, and see where Udoka chooses to line up Time Lord?
It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, to me, that's arguably the most. Tactically, that's probably the biggest subplot for me.
Who's guarding Tatum?
It's got to be Wiggins, surely.
I would think.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's a vision where if Tatum is really on his game, he's going to try to find a lot of switches. And I think if he gets Curry on him a bunch of times, or he's got all these smaller defenders on him, he can really take over the series.
Oh, Curry and particularly Jordan Poole will be hunted by Boston. Because this isn't a case of Peyton Pritchard where you can get by on offense without him. Curry especially, of course, but even Poole, they're desperately needed for their offense.
Yeah.
But Curry is a better defender than what he's given credit for, but Poole is a tire fire defensively. He's awful. So he in particular will be
Tatum's got to be the one to say, I'm the best player on the floor. Let me hunt these bad matchups and go to town. They can win if they do that.
I seem to recall in our conference final preview, we were saying something similar about Luka.
Yes.
Yeah. Look, you're absolutely right. They're going to have to hunt those mismatches. But as far as who guards, who's given the first assignment, it's got to be Wiggins. This is going to be the biggest challenge of Wiggins' career. He's got to stop a red-hot, borderline MVP candidate in the finals. And a place that he hasn't been. He hasn't come close to sniffing this before. This is all new for him, which may be good for him. He doesn't have that built-in fear. But there's every chance that he could wilt in the spotlight as well. Maybe this experienced Golden State lineup, as an experienced coach in Kerr, is able to insulate him a little bit. Because again, he's not going to have all the pressure on him than Tatum has. Tatum is carrying arguably the most, if not the most prestigious, then certainly the most historically prestigious franchise in the NBA. He's got the entire hopes of Celtic green all around the world on his shoulders.
Yeah.
not just you. I mean, my uncle who lives an hour away from me in suburban Melbourne. He's a massive Celtics fan. His eldest child, he's in his mid-20s now. He's named Liam James, but he wanted to call him Larry Joe. Wanted to call him Larry Joe Lambert, and his wife nixed it. He got Liam James because at least he got the initials.
Wow.
Yeah, no, he's a massive Celtics fan. I used to watch basketball with him when I was 5 or 6, and he was pushing me hard to be a Celtics fan when I was like this tiny little primary school kid. He could tell you all about the Chief and DJ and McHale. Like he idolized those 70s and 80s Celtics. But that's the thing. Tatum has that all around the world. Golden State fans are relatively, there's not a lot of, traditional Golden State fans. There might be some about my age who love the Run TNC sides.
They're 12-year-olds with the little comb over and they got the Steph Curry shirts on.
Exactly. And they've seen success. Boston's seen one title. Outside of that one title, the last time Boston won, Reggie Lewis was alive.
It's been a while.
That's how long ago we're talking. It was Bird, McHale, Parrish. It was DJ and Ainge, and it was that era. So, Golden State fans, yes, there's a lot of them because of recent success, but it is recent success. Boston's is traditional, and they've got fans that have been around for generations around the world. Tatum has a lot on his shoulders here. Wiggins doesn't. So it'll be interesting to see how Tatum handles that as well, knowing that does he press? If he has a bad opening quarter to game one or opening quarter to any game, does he try and shoot his way out of it, or does he be methodical, get the rest of the team involved, get to the free throw line, get his rhythm back? Is he patient, basically?
I want to ask you about Jaylen Brown too, because, oh my God, he's the best player in the NBA that can't dribble the ball. It's unbelievable. The time during games where he just coughs it up. I just don't understand it. I think he can only dribble the ball with one hand.
Well, this is where I think Klay Thompson matches up on him, even though Thompson is 6'7" and relatively stout, but Brown will bullock him. Brown's just much bigger. But being a little bit smaller could allow Thompson to get in a little bit closer to Brown and try and disrupt that dribble early. And that Brown, if he can't get, he's not going to be able to just rise up and shoot over the top. He's not that good a shooter. So I think Thompson is the natural matchup for him.
Yeah.
Thompson's not as quick as he was, obviously, but
that's the thing. Can he get by him? Can he get by him without those stupid turnovers?
There are games when Jaylen Brown seems to be able to dribble not quite Kyrie Irving level, but like a really good, competent one-on-one player.
Sure.
On those games, he will beat Thompson. But I think Thompson, those games where Jaylen Brown doesn't have it with the dribble, I think he could be in a bit of trouble with Thompson one-on-one. Of course, the flip side is that Jaylen Brown is really good at running around screens. Yes, he's a great one-on-one defender, but he's a great off-ball defender chasing his player as well. So I think that Thompson might have a little bit of an issue getting shots off against Brown as well.